We're here to Love the Boot Week to clean up Louisiana, and we're so excited, more than double the amount we usually have sign up across the state to help us clean the Louisiana up in Love the Boot Week.
We are Keep Louisiana Beautiful, and we're the only statewide organization that really engages communities in beautification and cleanup events.
The task force this year is a little special. The governor's task force under my office to actually not only clean up Louisiana, but to keep it clean, to come up with a plan to report back to them on July 1st how we're going to keep the state clean. So it's not just Love the Boot Week and then we forget about it. We're going to keep Louisiana beautiful, as we always talk about. We've got a problem worse than ever now. 2 years of COVID shutdown, a lot of things not happening out there to clean it up. So we've got a real dirty state and a real big project that we got to clean the state up. So it kicks off this week with Love the Boot Week, but then every week we're going to be around the state cleaning up a certain part, and we ask everybody to keep it clean so we can have a beautiful Louisiana to enjoy.
We started working on this 2 years ago, and we've been sidelined due to COVID. So we have been anticipating today for over 2 years now, and we have a great turnout. And not just today, but like I said, today is the kickoff of what is going to be happening all over Louisiana. Thousands of volunteers are saying enough's enough, we need to do our part, and we need to bring awareness to this all-important cause. Even though we realize that litter removal in of itself is not the solution. It's much more complicated than that. But litter begets litter. And so we know that litter communicates that someone is not looking, we don't care, and we're not invested in our communities. We know that litter, it just plagues our roadways. It's clogging our storm drains. And a littered site can quickly turn into a dump site overnight because, again, the message is no one's looking and no one cares. It's important we pick it up. It raises awareness to the problem, and it is a piece of the puzzle of litter prevention.
Lots of plastic food containers, to-go boxes, plastic forks. We found tires. We found there's a whole group of shingles and a blue tarp over there that looks like somebody dumped back there. We found a dish, the satellite dish. We found an old dish back there. You name it, we're finding it out here. Just anything and everything you can imagine.
What would you like to say to the people that have dumped all this stuff?
Please stop dumping trash. We need to keep our state beautiful. Please find a receptacle and throw your trash away. Please do not leave your trash behind. Do not litter. Please, 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 please.
We found a lot of different things. We found a shopping cart. We found a couple of tires. Of course, just some regular trash. And as we've been picking up, some of the other volunteers have given us some of the other larger pieces of trash, and we've been bringing it with us such as this bucket. So we're headed back now to dispose of it properly.
What goes through your mind when you see this stuff?
The mindset or the mentality of why people do it. Why do people do what they do? We see it every day, unfortunately, on our streets in Louisiana, and we know how beautiful our community is. And I would just like to understand why people do it. So this is certainly a big improvement, but we have to work on the why. We have to change mindset so that we don't continue this problem, because it is 100% preventable.
I am so excited to have so many of you with us today to kick off our Love the Boot Week celebration. As you know, Love the Boot Week is our state's largest litter removal and beautification effort, and we're doing this in conjunction with Earth Day. I cannot tell you how excited I am to have such great participation in this wonderful event. With us today, we have representation from almost every parish in the state of Louisiana. And I know that many of you in this room with us today are going to go back to your areas and participate in a litter cleanup event or a beautification event. And I'm so sure of that, I'm going to ask you all to raise your hands. Show me if you're going to be participating in an event after you leave here today. That is awesome. Give yourselves a round of applause. Now, before I get too into this, I want to encourage all of you, if you have not had a chance to grab a delicious bite of food that is generously being catered to us today by the Louisiana Seafood Promotion Board. Promotion and Marketing Board. It is great. My daughter has told me that I need to learn how to make shrimp and grits when I go back home. So if you haven't had a chance to, please make sure you grab a bite to eat after our presentations. Now, we are all here today because we share the same goal. We want to see our state as beautiful as it can be, as clean as it can be, and we are all dedicated to that effort. I want to thank all of you for continuing to support Keep Louisiana Beautiful's mission for a litter-free and beautiful Louisiana. My daughter is here with me today, and we are doing this so that future generations can enjoy all that the Sportsman's Paradise has to offer. And I'm so excited that she chose to join me today here to help me with the cleanup when she could be at home enjoying her extra day off from school. So thank you, Ruby. Our fight against litter has been amplified with the support of the leadership of Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. And I have been given the honor to present him as our first speaker today. He has been a long friend and supporter of Keep Louisiana Beautiful, but now that litter abatement efforts have been moved to his department, he has made cleaning up Louisiana his #1 priority, and he has let us know that we cannot fail at that mission, and we accept the challenge. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank all of you for being here. I can't thank you enough for your dedication and support of such an important program. And although he's not with us today, what we're doing under this new task force would not be possible without Governor John Bel Edwards' full supporters. So let's give him a round. I also want to thank Mark Cooper. Thank you for your leadership in helping organize the task force meetings and all the work that everybody has been put into this. And you're right, my passion for Clean Up Louisiana goes back to when I was parish president. You see these little garbage cans here on an angle. We have a sample here. We put these on 21 locations leading to Highway 23 in Plaquemines Parish because the highway was filthy. Everyone that left the marina threw their trash out the windows, and we just couldn't keep it clean. We put these out at those 21 locations, and about 90% of the garbage went in or around the cans. We had to empty them 3 or 4 times a week, but we saw a tremendous increase in the cleanness of Highway 23 by that one little simple project. So we're going to try to offer those things to problem areas around the state and every effort we can to clean up all the communities and keep it clean. This task force is tasked with delivering a plan back to the governor by July 1st. And all the members have been working not only in the monthly meetings, but sub-meetings in between that to make sure we complete that task and we give the governor a plan that will actually not only clean up the state, but keep it clean. And I thank all the members for working on that to make sure we can put the paradise back in Sportsman's Paradise. You know, it has such an impact on all of our ways of life. But I want to tell you, I've got to thank Shawn Wilson, Chuck Brown, and my good friend at Wildlife Fishery, Jack, Secretary Jack Monahan. You guys have already stepped up to the plate because I get calls every day. Your guys are out cleaning the waterways. Shawn, your 10-minute plan of cleaning up. Man, I'm seeing DOTD people out there and the dump sites with tires. I got a call just yesterday, one got cleaned up. So your efforts already before this task force is complete is making an impact in communities all over Louisiana. So thank you all so much. So when we invite family and friends over to our house, we clean up. And coming out of COVID, prior to COVID, we had 4 record-breaking years in tourism. And that is my #1 job, promoting the great state of Louisiana. And as we open our doors back up to the world, we need to clean it up. We need visitors to come here. We know we got the best food, music, and culture, and the friendliest people in the world. Well, we want them to leave here and say, wow, it really is Sportsman's Paradise. So I can't thank everyone again enough. And while I introduced the champion of this effort for years, she has done an incredible job, and the volunteers from all over Louisiana with little or no financial support, but now she's going to have that. Thanks to everyone in this room. Let me introduce to you Susan Russell, the champion of Keep Louisiana Beautiful.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, for your support, your leadership, and for really elevating this cause. So on behalf of Keep Louisiana Beautiful's Board of Directors and staff, welcome and thank you for coming. It's great to see so many familiar faces and so many friends. So today officially kicks off Keep Louisiana Beautiful's Love the Boot Week. It's 7 days of beautification and cleanup events, the largest community improvement event in Louisiana. So we all know that litter removal alone is not the answer to Louisiana's litter problem. We know that it takes litter education, litter enforcement. We know that it takes infrastructure and best practices that support clean communities. And we know that it takes partnerships between the public and the private sectors. But litter removal is a critical piece to this very complicated problem, because litter begets litter. Litter communicates that nobody cares, that nobody's watching, and no one's invested in our communities. Litter can turn a site into a dump site overnight, it seems like, because people know that no one is watching, no one is caring. Litter is plaguing our roadways, it's clogging our storm drains, and it's time we stop and make a change. We have thousands of volunteers throughout the state that are going to be doing their part. And another reason why these cleanups are so important is because it raises awareness. 91% of all roadside litter is 4 inches or smaller, which means day in and day out when we're in our cars traveling, we fail to notice 91% of all litter, all the cigarette butts and the bottle caps. So as it raises this awareness, we also hope that it motivates people and outrages people for change. We need change. We need attitudinal, we need behavioral, we need a cultural change. And we're going to make that change starting today. But let's be clear, it doesn't start, it starts today, but it doesn't stop on the 24th. What we're instilling in people, planting those seeds for change that will last 365 days of the year. So I am thrilled to talk to you a little bit more about what we have in store for this week. Over 250 events are registered and will be taking place in 52 parishes. So for our first year event, that's a huge success. And even though this list is long, I really want to take the time because it's important that we recognize and notice our partners in this effort. We have over 110 businesses and organizations. 33 of our affiliate organizations, many who are here today, will be participating this week. We also have neighborhoods. This is so important. Get our neighborhood associations involved, mom and dad with their sons and daughters grabbing a bag and a garden glove and doing their part to clean up around their neighborhood. Also schools, universities. 11 of our universities are doing Love the Boot events this week. And government. 94 local and state governmental agencies are participating this week. It takes us all. And so this is the engagement piece, the litter removal piece. But the other part to Love the Boot is the heightened awareness, to putting this message out front for everyone to hear and see. And so we worked with Red 6 Media. Thank you, Matt, for being here today. They created a radio spot that was aired throughout Louisiana. We also, they helped us with a social media campaign. So we called upon Louisiana musicians, some Grammy Award winning and Hall of Fame entries came in. And what we asked them is to sing a little jingle and share a message about how litter is tarnishing the state that you love. And so I wanted to just show one of them. This is Lane Hardy. A lot of y'all remember him a couple of years ago. He won American Idol. He is a native of Livingston Parish. And so I'm going to show a little bit about
Hey y'all, Lane Hardy here. I know y'all love Louisiana as much as I do. Litter is ugly, and it's not healthy. It's ruining some of my favorite fishing holes. So please, let Louisiana shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Well, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, 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 let it shine.
So we thank him. I would have joined in, but for those of y'all who know me, no, I can't sing. But he's right. Louisiana cannot shine when it's full of litter. And here are a few other social media posts that we pushed out this month. And then we want to thank Lamar Outdoor Advertising. They came up with these beautiful billboards and donated not only the space, but the production for 30 of them around our estate. So we had so many partners that made today possible. Some of our major supporters that I want to recognize is Blue Cross Blue Shield, both in their volunteer and as well as sponsorship. Our Louisiana Seafood and Promotion Board that provided our food today. The Office of Cultural Recreation and Tourism, of course, Lieutenant Governor and his office and Lamar. And then there's people that have worked so hard behind this effort. Our board PR committee, thank you. Our staff, we're small and mighty, but we get a lot done. Campbell Mouton and Melissa Kenyon, thank y'all very much for all that y'all did. This is a team effort. So to our PR committee, to our staff, let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you. So now I'm going to call up Mark Cooper. He is Chief of Staff for Governor John Bell Edwards, and he's going to talk a little bit about what the governor's doing to lead the charge. And personally, Mark has been, I'd just like to make comment about what he has done. He has made himself available and has personally kind of taken up this banner and this flag. He's made himself available and has really helped us push this along with the task force. So thank you, Mark. And y'all join us after for our cleanup at the Louisiana Municipal Association. Thank you.
And Susan, I want to thank you again because you have the dedication you put through the years. And I remember we met a couple years ago to talk about this. And I mean, everyone's coming together, but you've really set this up for success. And then for you, Lieutenant Governor, just like what you've done for tourism in Louisiana and doing the best job of any Lieutenant Governor ever, I know you're going to do the same thing for litter. And as was discussed, the governor issued an executive order back in February establishing this task force for litter abatement and beautification. And he talked about, us having one of the, and all of us know this, probably one of the most beautiful states as far as our landscape, our waterways, and our coastline. There's no other place in the United States like Louisiana. And I can remember living in California. I took a break from Louisiana. I was in California for about 20 years. And driving from Santa Monica, where the I-10 starts, through Arizona, Nevada, Texas, and across the Atchafalaya Basin. I mean, there is no prettier spot along that interstate, that 2,400 miles of interstate, than the Atchafalaya Basin. And then I think about I-49 from Lafayette all the way up to Shreveport, the rolling hills and the green forests. No prettier place can you go. But if you look closely, sometimes, and a lot of times, you'll see plastic bottles, you'll see trash and other litter. And that's what we're here to talk about today and trying to solve that, because litter impacts economic development, it impacts crime, it has an impact on quality of life, and those are things that we can all tackle. And while this task force, we've got several secretaries here and they were identified, we also got Colonel Davis, who's responsible for some of the enforcement, and Secretary LeBlanc with Department of Corrections. And he's also an unsung hero because he has his guys and gals out there cleaning up trash along the interstates as well. While we can do all those things with the task force and with government agencies, it's just like during Hurricane Katrina, and Lieutenant Governor, you'll remember this. Before Hurricane Katrina, we looked to government for both preparedness and response. After Katrina, we realized that businesses and individuals have a role. Well, the same thing can be said about litter. Government can do everything they can do, but individuals and businesses. Individuals can identify their neighborhood for a cleanup or a waterway. Businesses, as I'm sure Secretary Wilson will talk about what he's doing, just to spend a few minutes a week, just going out 100 feet each direction of your business and picking up trash. While we're working on these recommendations with this task force, we can go ahead and solve this problem. So I'm very excited to be here today, and I appreciate the opportunity. And again, Lieutenant Governor, thank you for your leadership. And Susan, thanks for all you do. But let this be the beginning of making Louisiana not only sportsman's paradise, but everyone's paradise. Thank you.
It's great to be with you today and talk about an issue that's not just a growing problem, it's an out-of-control problem here in Louisiana. Not just what we know, but it's the places of Louisiana we don't see and around the country. DOTD is tasked with maintaining the state's infrastructure system, which includes both the state and the federal highway system, and most importantly, the interstate system and the bridges across this state. It's important from a commerce perspective, but also to pay attention to those that live here in Louisiana. There's another crucial part of what we do, and that includes keeping our roadways clean and free of litter and debris from a safety standpoint. This responsibility falls to the full depth of our state's right-of-way and not just the roads that you travel. We've unfortunately found human remains, trash, litter, you name it, in the sideways and byways of Louisiana. It's astonishing how much litter will accumulate on our roadways, and if it's not addressed, it is compounded to untold consequential levels. Litter washes into our lakes, our bayous, our fishing holes, as Lane said, waterways. Not only is it unattractive, but it can also be deadly from wildlife as well, as I'm sure Secretary Montasse will share. Oftentimes, this trash will clog our drainage systems and lead to flooding of streets and homes and businesses. This is an example of those compounded effects that disrupt our quality of life, the way we do business, and of course the utility of this great system that I've been tasked to lead a department to maintain. Just last week, DOTD took one day, 6 hours out of that one day to pick up litter around the state. In those 6 hours, DOTD staff picked up more than 1,300 cubic yards of litter. If you think that's astounding, just wait. Last year, we spent nearly $10 million on litter pickup efforts, which included mowing and litter contracts, municipal agreements with local governments, sheriff's associations and associations agreements, and in-house removal costs. Now this, my friends, is astounding. All total, last year, our crews collected 51,652 cubic yards of litter. Now, that equates to 13,960 tons. And if you want to put that in layman's terms, that's 189,679 55-gallon drums that we have picked up of trash. And if you want to go a step further, if you laid them end to end, it would get you from this place to my house and back short about 4 miles. That's just how many barrels of how much trash we've picked up. And I live in Lafayette on the Louisiana Avenue interchange. So if you go there, don't bring any litter. So the money that was spent on litter could be used in many more productive, taskful, meaningful ways. Overlaying dozens of miles of roadway, filling potholes, building bicycle lanes, planting trees, and other much-needed infrastructure projects and general maintenance. One way that we execute our litter pickup efforts is the Adopt a Road program, which we enlist volunteers, many of you may be in the room, to remove litter and debris from our state and federal roadsides. Some of you are even generous enough to have to cut the grass. While saving taxpayer dollars, this program provides recognition for participating groups and organizations to promote civic responsibility and pride by bringing public awareness to this issue of making sure we help keep Louisiana clean and green. And you heard the chief talk about it, and maybe the Lieutenant Governor Nungesser mentioned it. Last year, we implemented a new policy that I created by being on a workforce with one of our groups. It's called the Take 10 Challenge, wherein our DOTD crews, over 3,000 plus employees, will go out on a daily basis on sites and will dedicate 10 minutes of their time at that location picking up litter just within the scope of the project that they're working on in public right-of-way. Huge opportunity for us to pick up trash on a regular basis. And we've tasked every other local government and challenged them, if you have a fleet of people and equipment, to take 10 minutes out of your day to make Louisiana a much better place to live. The goal was to improve the communities where we work, play, and live, but that governmental agencies cannot do it alone. We are an example when we're out there. We need commitments from the general public, first place, to not litter to begin with. We ought not have to spend so much time picking up behind those who have been careless with their waste. Louisiana is too beautiful of a state, too unique of a state to have to deal with this problem, and it should not be overlooked with the amounts of trash and debris that we see on our roadways. Through education and outreach efforts, such as those promoted by Keep Louisiana Beautiful and Lieutenant Governor Nungesser, we can continue to make a difference. Given Governor Edwards' leadership, you should know that DOTD, and I can speak for all of our cabinet, we will remain committed to doing our part to not only be a part of the solution, but leading by example, as you will hear from other cabinet members this morning, and to communicate the cost and impact to the public. We appreciate your support, we appreciate your engagement, but most of all, we appreciate you loving Louisiana. The next voice you hear will be one of my key partners, a fellow cabinet member. We work together in emergency debris, but regular stuff as well, like cleaning up tires and making meaningful use of them. We're going to introduce Dr. Chuck Brown from the Department of Environmental Quality.
First of all, good morning, and I'm very proud to be a leader against litter. That was one of our slogans a couple of years ago. I also love to boot. That new slogan, you all remember we used to have, "Don't Trash Louisiana." And we had a contest. And actually, the First Lady and I picked that slogan, "Love to boot, don't pollute." So I'm very proud of that when I see one of those stickers somewhere out there. So I'm a firm believer that litter abatement is a learned behavior. Most of us brought our kids home in car seats, and they've never been in a car without a seatbelt. My daughter will never get in a car without a seatbelt. So I think that litter abatement is a learned behavior that we need to push down to our young folks as we move along. LDEQ's role in litter is a little different. It is mainly gross litter. Had somebody push a whole house in a lake. That's gross litter. Actually, I have guys that have guns and badges. They actually go out and do investigations, and they turn it over to local DAs. That's the kind of large illegal dumping efforts that we normally go after, even with surveillance and cameras. We also deal with debris from hurricanes. It generates millions and millions of cubic yards of debris. Hurricane Katrina and Rita generated enough to fill the Superdome 12 times over. Hurricane Ida about 6 times. So all that debris is managed in some type of debris management areas and hopefully done safely. We also deal with waste tires. When you buy a set of tires, you pay $2.25 a tire. That money comes to us, and we actually have approved projects, whether it be erosion control or whether it be land reclamation, and that side of the ledger is working well. But when it comes to illegal dumping, I get tires that come into this state that nobody pays a penny on. Somebody takes 2,000, they take 500 they can resell, and they dump 1,500 somewhere. Right outside the state line in Kentwood, there was a piece of property that had 20,000 tires on it. And that was because somebody probably said, "Bring me your tires, you can put them here, and give me $1 a tire." In New Orleans East, we picked up over 50,000 of them just on Dyer Road, and we did it in conjunction with our DOTD guys. So that side of the ledger is not working. So I am working with DOT need to figure out ways to use crumb rubber and asphalt, give those tires some value. The whole aluminum can theory is what I'm actually looking at. I'm also working with local governments and the legislature. We're trying to increase civil and criminal penalties, either for transporting and dumping illegally or just ultimately illegal dumping. And finally, we all have a role to play. That's one of the things the governor and I talked about. One of the things that he really likes is we all have a role to play. We've got to look at prevention and cleanup. We've got to look at education. We've got to look at enforcement. All of those pieces of the puzzle will help us be successful. So again, I'm very happy to be a leader against litter. And I'm going to take this moment to introduce my fellow cabinet member from Wildlife and Fisheries. But before I do, he and I often sit on panels together. And at the end, there's always a question and answer session. And boy, they'd be hitting him with, you know, why can't we keep that red fish season open longer? And what are we doing with feral hogs? And so finally I said, look, nobody's asking me any questions. So a guy comes up to me afterwards and he says, well, asking him a question is like going to recess. But asking you a question is like going to the principal's office. Nobody wanted to hear it. So here's my friend, Jack Bonnette.
Look, we strongly support the governor and lieutenant governor's effort to clean up the state. It's been long overdue, Lieutenant Governor. And certainly I'm proud to be part of a team that's going to get that done. Our sportsman's paradise is under assault by people dumping trash on our roads, in our rivers, and on our WMAs. And it's statewide. Our agents have written nearly 1,000 citations in 2 years. Take a look at the board and see what they have to deal with on this side. He does that to me all the time. He moves that stuff. But these are some of the things that we have to deal with. We write so many citations each and every year. It's disheartening. And this doesn't even include what the agents see on our waterways. We wish we could have our agents totally focused on other things that are much or as important, but protecting the beauty of our state and the safety of our wildlife and aquatic life is important too. In an effort to do some special cleanup, Wildlife and Fisheries is holding an Atchafalaya Basin litter roundup on the water this coming Friday, April 22nd. I want to invite all of you, whether you have a boat or not. If you don't have a boat, come on, you can get on my boat and help us. You know, we're going to be loading up at the Atchafalaya Welcome Center at Bootler Rose, and that area is pretty bad, and that was made known to me time and time again by our chief here, who says this is one of the most beautiful places in the country. We need to clean it up, and we agree with you, sir. It's our part in Love the Boot Week activities. We need volunteers with boats, and we will supply other things that you're going to need. You can go to our website for more information and look under press releases and find more information. As I end, I want to show you that you never have to throw trash on our roads. This is what we collected recently. Come on, Louisiana. Let's dunk the junk. You know, that's how we really and truly can show how much we love the booth. Thank you so much for your time today. And I'd like to introduce, after me, one of our secretaries who sits next to me at every cabinet meeting, our Secretary of the Department of Corrections, Mr. Jimmy LeBlanc. And I got to tell you, Mr. Jimmy has given me about 1,000 slots in his jails if we continue catching some of you who continuously litter. Thank you, Jimmy.
I don't know how you follow that, actually, especially in the business I'm in. You know, in reference to tires, and Chuck and I got a little closer, I had to evacuate an entire prison because of burning tires in Avoyelles Parish. So that's another sign of the problem that we have in the state with tires. You know, I go back a long ways, probably back longer than anybody in this room with state government, and I have a picture on my desk with Miss Alice Foster and my staff when I was warden at Dixon Correctional Institute when we began addressing that litter problem. But in those days, it was more about picking up litter than this, what we have working on now. And I personally want to thank the governor, our chief of staff, our lieutenant governor, Susan, Keep Louisiana Beautiful. This is just great for our state. And it's already been said, you know, I'm being a little redundant here, but you know, our department is committed to the mission to make this work, and it will if we stay with it. You know, we pick up litter, that's what we do. The last 2 years we've been COVID, you know, everybody's dealing with that. We haven't been able to do everything we'd like to do in that regard, but we're back on. I'm glad to say today that we are back at it here. In the next few weeks, we'll be back at full force. And a lot of people think that's, you know, that's free picking up litter. It's not free. And Sean and I have a partnership with doing that, and it's $1 million just for us to pick up litter on the highway. So that's a small part of the total cost, but you know, when people drive by and say, well, it's free, it's not. It's not even close to being free. In addition, our wardens work with their local communities, you know, we're after festivals and fairs, doing the things that we do in Louisiana, helping out. You know, with all that being said, for me, the conclusion of all that is that we're picking up litter over and over again, over and over and over again. And it's within a few days, we're back at it. You know, and it has improved, but it's not anywhere near, as you've already heard, where it needs to be. And I would mention that our department has roughly 400 people that have signed up for Love the Boot Week, and I'm excited about that. So, you know, this is kind of my opinion, and Secretary Bonnettete mentioned that in the letter to the editor this morning in the Baton Rouge paper, and our paradise is being jeopardized. And you know, we make the license plates, and you see it on the bottom of every one, Sportsman's Paradise. Maybe we need to change that to Litter's Paradise, you know, and that's kind of where we are, and as you've already heard. So, you know, as mentioned, our state businesses, you know, our government, nonprofits, everybody needs to take part in this, as has already been said, because without everybody pitching in here, it's not going to work, and we need complete cooperation here. To fight the battle, we must all rally around the work of the Litter Task Force, which I think, again, is working in the right direction, along with Keep Louisiana Beautiful. We should pick up, stand up, and speak up against litter in Louisiana. Lead by example and pick up litter as you see it. Show that a beautiful, litter-free Louisiana matters to you by standing up at events like this to show your pride and support for the state. Educate others by speaking up about the importance of personal and business responsibility. So again, I want to thank the governor, the lieutenant governor. I appreciate you chairing the task force, moving us forward. He's at every meeting. I missed one meeting, and I felt bad about missing one meeting, but he's at every one and pushing this forward. Him and our chief of staff and our governor certainly need to be applauded too. And I appreciate being here today. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I'm Dawn Cantrell, and I'm on the Keep Louisiana Beautiful board, and I really do appreciate the opportunity to be here to speak. Thank you, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, and Susan, and the KLB Board of Directors for allowing me to be here. I joined the board about 5 years ago, and I joined as just an ordinary citizen. I didn't know Susan or anybody on the board. But I was so passionate about this problem, and I really wanted to make a difference. So I know when I talk to people about, you know, my board service, there are so many people, and I have so many of my colleagues here from Blue Cross. I work for Blue Cross Blue Shield, long time Blue Cross employee, and they all are so passionate about this. So I'm really looking forward to this week. We've been working on this for a few years. We started working on Love the Boot Week before COVID, and when COVID came, we couldn't do this, so we are so thrilled to be able to be here, and the entire board and our so many volunteers, so really excited about that. Louisiana is my home state, and as an employee of Blue Cross, I see litter's impact on the health of our environment and the health of our people. Litter enters our community, invades our drinking water, and endangers our children. I dream of living in a clean Louisiana, and I know that dream is possible with Keep Louisiana Beautiful and our state's leaders at the helm. Following Love the Boot Week, the Office of the Lieutenant Governor, Louisiana Office of Tourism, and Keep Louisiana Beautiful will launch a statewide media campaign focusing on litter prevention called Let Louisiana Shine. The song, This Little Light of Mine, will serve as the emotional rally cry to bring awareness about the litter problem and to appeal to the citizens to take pride in their state. The elevated message is designed to motivate citizens into positive action. Let me see, where's the clicker? There it is. So this is a little sneak peek of the campaign, and you'll see this little light of mine theme there with Let Louisiana Shine. So we're really excited about this.
It's a little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. It's a little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. It's a little light of mine.
Louisiana, it's time to put the paradise
back in our sportsman's paradise.
Visit letlouisianashine.org
to keep Louisiana beautiful.
Let it shine.
I think it's going to be very compelling. So the campaign focuses and communicates what litter is. People don't recognize, many people don't recognize that they're littering, like you saw in the video where trucks, people put trash in the back of their truck and it blows out. So a lot of people don't realize that. The detrimental impacts of litter hurts the environment, fish and wildlife, economic development and tourism, as many have talked about. It hurts our quality of life. Litter is costly and illegal. It costs our taxpayers over $40 million each year. Throwing a cup out of the window is against the law, as the state troopers are all here to make sure they're all telling us, yes, it is. And many don't even know that. Some people don't understand the repercussions of that action. Litter is 100% preventable, like you guys have talked about, and we can all play a role to clean up Louisiana. So cover your garbage cans with lids. I probably don't have to tell anybody here that because we're all the ones who probably do every one of these things. Clean out your truck beds. Keep a bag in your car for trash. Don't throw your, hopefully you don't smoke, but if you do, please don't throw it out the window. Reduce, reuse, recycle. I know everyone at Keep Louisiana Beautiful is excited about this campaign. I know I certainly am. In the months to come, look for advertisements on billboards, TV, radio spots, and media campaigns, and social media in markets throughout the state. And now for the fun part. We're going to be regrouping for our very own Love the Boot cleanup to kick all this off. For those of you who are interested in joining us, we'll be at the Louisiana Municipal Association parking lot, which is at 700 North 10th Street. We'll distribute the supplies, break up into groups, and clean the area. And Susan wanted me to let you all know that we are going to be collecting information on how much trash we're going to pick up, so we'll be reporting that out. And so with that, I want to thank everyone for being here today. We really appreciate all the support. It's phenomenal to see so many people that are so invested in this problem. And I know we're going to all make a difference, and we are going to make this happen and clean up Louisiana. So let's start. Let's go do it.
It's a quality of life issue, but also when businesses come to Louisiana, they see trash all over. If we don't respect our home, why should they locate their business here? So we know it has a negative impact on that, quality of life. And look, when you invite family and friends over to your house, you clean up. We're opening our doors back up to the world for tourism. 2019, we had a record-breaking year in tourism. We want those numbers back. We need to clean up our house as we welcome visitors back from all over the world. It's time to clean up Louisiana.
It's amazingly disappointing to see such beautiful scenery. I've been traveling back and forth from Lafayette to Baton Rouge since 1998, and it's just too much. It's out of control. It's gotten progressively worse, and it has a huge factor in terms of safety and the perceptions around the conditions of our roadway. Unfortunately, we don't have the resources to spend to clean up as much as we'd like. We're currently spending about $10 million a year to clean up Louisiana, but that's for 16,000 miles. That's not enough to do that, nor is it a good investment of our resources. I'd much rather take that $10 million and spend it on asphalt, spend it on potholes, bridge repair, something that's going to be meaningful. Bicycle lanes, planting trees to address the climate issues. Those are things that we should be doing with our resources, as opposed to cleaning up litter that other people have been careless with managing their waste.
We get some of the used tire dealers that may bring in 2,000 tires. They take out 500 they can resell, and then 1,500 is dumped somewhere along the way. What I'm trying to do is find long-term uses for those tires, because even if I shred them up, I'm just going to end up with piles of shredded tires without actually having an end use. So I'm working with DOTD to hopefully incorporate some crumb rubber into their asphalt. We're looking at land reclamation. We're actually working with wildlife and fisheries on some of their wildlife management areas, maybe using some of the tire chips to build up their roads. But overall, it's all connection between everything in state government and what we can do as private citizens to, again, love the boot and keep Louisiana beautiful.
As the governor said, we have one of the prettiest states in the country because of our waterways, our lakes, our topography. Obviously, litter impacts a lot of things here in Louisiana. Economic development's one of them, but it's also quality of life and even crime. And so the governor knows, and we've seen lately, that litter has become even a bigger problem for Louisiana. And whether that's because of the pandemic and more people eating out fast food restaurants, or the fact that we've had 4 major hurricanes and the debris, the governor realizes it's a problem, and it impacts all those areas. And you know, there's a recent study in Baton Rouge that showed that young people want to stay here or would want to stay here, and litter is one of the issues that they identified in them making that decision. And I think that's across the state. And so we know as far as economic development, that does play a major role.
All of these plastic containers, cans, bottles, and everything else that accumulate in our waterways certainly has an effect on our fisheries especially. And our wildlife also. We've found wildlife like pelicans with these 6-pack plastic holders together stuck around their necks, around their feet, and their wings, and those are the kind of things that really concern us with all of this littering and pollution out there.
Volunteers are exceedingly important to help us to fight the litter problem here in Louisiana. This is not a problem that happens just one week out of the year. Although we have Love the Boot Week and we're bringing attention to us, this is an ongoing problem. So it takes everyone to pitch in and do their part, and this is something that we can tackle any day of the year at any time. There's always litter, unfortunately, so there's always something for us to clean up, and this is something that we need all of our volunteers, people all over the state, to help us to eliminate this problem.
On one hand, people might think to have to pick up litter is a morale depressor. I think it's a morale booster. We've asked all of our employees to do what's the Take 10 challenge, and that is when you're out on a roadside preparing a guardrail or repairing a cable barrier or cleaning a ditch or putting out reflectors or striping, to take 10 minutes out of your day and clean up that right away before you leave. Before you start, during the experience, or afterwards, bag up the trash, because when people drive through it and see a new guardrail and it's clean, then they'll have a different appreciation. You also get much better appreciation as an individual helping to clean it up, to say, not only have I made this road safer, but I've demonstrated a caring spirit for Louisiana, in hopes that others will adopt that approach as well.
So far, I've seen lots of businesses coming together and bringing all their employees, their memberships of their organizations together for a united cause, right? This is something we can all get behind. This is our state. We love the boot, literally. We love the state of Louisiana. And this is a great way to get your coworkers together, your neighborhood friends together, just people you know, to come together to contribute to a great cause and work together to clean up our state. We have everything from cleanup events to beautification, where they're planting gardens, they're planting trees, they're painting old blighted buildings, you know, they're eliminating waterways that have been littered, you know, they're cleaning up those waterways and all of these things that are taking place across our state, everyone is pitching in for a great cause, and it's a great way to build community and teamwork.
We've got very passionate people. To have over 250 groups signed up, I think in the best year, had 100. So over double what we've had in the past. The outcry, and all the department heads under the governor, under our office, have done incredible work already. You know, the governor tasked every fourth Saturday as a cleanup day. So we've been already cleaning up leading up to this week. From this week forward, though, we're going to keep Louisiana beautiful.
It is the first time in Louisiana's history that we have the governor and the lieutenant governor both standing in unison, declaring enough's enough and it's time to clean up Louisiana. So with that support from Louisiana's top leadership, our organization and so many others, as well as businesses and schools and churches and our citizens, are joining together and following in their leadership.
How can people get more information?
At our website, so go to keeplouisianabeautiful.org and let's get you plugged in.